Okay, so it is full of that kind of stuff.
We're all at this point very familiar with ARGs and the hold that they have on the internet. They pose as rabbit holes and mysteries that the viewer can take place in to help solve and watch unfold, giving us some of that old internet magic back. This, however, is not an ARG. At least not anymore. In 2015, a post would be made on r/creepygaming that, unbeknownst to the poster, would open up a rabbit hole far darker than anyone could have imagined. The post simply being titled, "Sad Satan Deep Web Horror Game." Reddit user 86 Hachiroku posted gameplay from his own channel, Obscure Horror Corner, with no text body, simply just showing off what seems to be an obscure game he found and uploaded to his channel. The gameplay has no commentary, and as of today, the video has no description either. Curious. There are only 4 current videos on the channel about Sad Satan, all of which have no description, no commentary, and a very loose theme tying them all together. The gameplay loop seems to just be walking around, having some spooky sounds around you, and having images flash on screen. So where exactly is the mystery here? Clicking on the video from the Reddit post made me realize that the gameplay being shown is actually a part 2, but reading through some of the comments, it seems as if at one point this was showcasing part 1. Even more curious. Going back to the Reddit post and looking through the comments, I found a post called "Uncovering the Secrets of Sad Satan," which is now deleted. Dead end. This was my initial experience trying to revisit the old internet mystery of Sad Satan in modern day. Pretty anticlimactic, right? But as frustrating as this is, I wasn't about to just let it stop me. I mean, it's to be expected. This mystery is almost 10 years old as of this year, so a lot of information is either going to be missing, or this mystery has been solved 10 times over by some group of internet sleuths who have probably been at it way longer than I have. But what even is Sad Satan? You haven't even explained that yet.
Yeah, because I was also confused. I thought that maybe this is some kind of game and that what I'm reacting to.
I can already hear you saying in the comments. Allow me to restart with what the internet already knows. Sad Satan is touted as a deep web horror game that made its first appearance on the channel mentioned prior, Obscure Horror Corner, who claimed to have received this game file from an anonymous subscriber. The game is supposed to be the scariest and most disturbing game ever made. Very quickly after the first 3 initial gameplay videos were released, Kotaku would pick up on this, write an article about it, and get an interview with both Obscure Horror Corner and the subscriber who sent the link. Somehow. This article being titled, "A Horror Game That May Be Hidden in the Darkest Corners of the Internet." The article gives us a look into all of the obscure and disturbing imagery shown in the series of videos so far, and we will be coming back to this later. This article took the game from blowing up on Reddit to blowing up everywhere almost instantly, starting a hunt by various online communities to figure out what this game is, who made it, and why. Several theories started springing up around the game's origin, from a cult recruitment tool to a dark web psyop.
Yeah, because for example, for a little bit of news, who will have that amount of time to make a fake game to impress people, which does not make sense. So yeah, maybe it is some kind of recruitment tools somebody used, the cult or some other organization.
Due to the strange images and audio that seem to try and tell you a story. But here's the thing, something wasn't adding up. The deeper I went, the stranger it got, and the more I found. So let's go back to the beginning. The initial Part 1 Sad Satan video came out June 25th, 2015. Let's take a look. Most of the gameplay, like I said, is just walking around a very low quality hallway, but it's the
But the thing is that it is weird and like how the game is being shown in the art style and also the sound which is we are keep hearing.
sounds and the seemingly random images that flash throughout the game that tell us what's really going on here. We hear a young girl speaking in reverse. It's a Polish number station that was used to transmit messages in code. This is a very famous clip and starts with some beeps and chimes and then the girl talking, and was first heard in the 60s, but it's possibly older. Then for a split second, we see this image appear, switching the audio and making things more distorted.
Sound I feel like is similar to ice cream stores use. I think it is kind of similar, or maybe I'm wrong, and maybe the melody almost same.
Later on, we hear some slowed down screams, then a weird one. It's a slowed down song of someone saying, "Keep pushing me over and over and over again. Follow the beacon, Our Lady Liberty stands for none. It's a vicious world eating her own." Looking up these lyrics brings us to a song called Lynch Mob made by KMFDM in 2011, but it doesn't really seem to tie into anything just yet. A random distorted man saying something near indecipherable. Another flash of this image appears, and then we get a flash of an image of Margaret Thatcher and a man named Jimmy Savile holding signs that say, "NSPCC is great," before a snippet of Stairway of Heaven is playing backwards, where you can hear the words "Sad Satan" over and over again before the video ends. So what exactly can we get from this? Well, honestly not much. So far it seems like just an edgy project, no real themes between.
Yeah, because if we look at it, it's feel like a game. Maybe some guy decided to make it, because I thought that maybe this was some big game, but it is like very small game, which maybe it is easy to create.
Between the pictures, all just kinda random, right? The image here depicting a man in the hallway surrounded by horns is from Walter Sanders, a German photographer. The photograph is of Franz Joseph IX, Prince of Thurn and Taxes, who it seems, after doing some research, really just liked hunting. Neither of these people seem too important to the story and feels more like just a creepy picture thrown in here to make you feel uneasy. The other image, on the other hand, this one is an interesting choice. The pictures depicting Margaret Thatcher and Jimmy Savile holding the sign saying "NSPCC is great" has some very interesting implications. The NSPCC is the National Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Children. Jimmy Savile was a well-known BBC host of his shows such as Top of the Pops and Jim'll Fix It. He was knighted by Margaret Thatcher, donated millions of dollars to children's hospitals, and won many prestigious rewards throughout his life for his selfless actions. When he died, however, he was outed for over 400 different counts of sexual abuse, most of them against.
What the hell? How much he was doing this kind of stuff, and he was still was not caught. And another thing is that how it's possible to do so, because I'm pretty sure someone have known that he was doing this kind of stuff, but they were still supporting him to like maintain his image, similar to the Epstein Island stuff.
Children, making him one of the most prolific lawfare the UK has ever seen. He used his connections and power to abuse children and the elderly as his main victims in the hospitals he was funding. This image is a clear indication of child exploitation and the elite, showing how they mock their own victims through their charity work. The music choice for this part as well is very interesting. More than likely, this is an indication as to why the game is named Sad Satan. Led Zeppelin's Stairway to Heaven has been the target of many conspiracies due to what it sounds like when playing backwards. And as you heard, it includes the words "Sad Satan." But it might also have another meaning in this context. Jimmy Page, one of the members of Led Zeppelin, was notorious for dating a 14-year-old during his time within the band. I don't know if this is enough to tie into a theme just yet, so let's take a look at the other parts of the Let's Play. Part 2 was released June 27th, 2015. The video shows something not seen in the last part, a door. When OHS walks up to it, a text pops up. Rescue with key, suffering, doors locked. 30 seconds in, this picture pops up, and it stays on the screen for a little longer than usual. A strange, unintelligible speech starts playing, and then a picture of JFK moments before his assassination flicks onto the screen. After a while of walking around in the random spooky parts of the map, he ends up back at the door, but this time, it opens. Walking through it, an image of Baphomet appears, and then the Led Zeppelin reversed comes back just for a second. After this, something very interesting happens. A little girl appears. Not an image, an actual in-game asset. As he gets closer, we see that her face is disfigured, covered in blood from the open wounds that cover her head. This triggers a new mechanic.
So what I feel like this was work of somebody who was trying to maybe expose the people who did all kind of stuff, and that was his end goal. Maybe, I don't know, but I feel like it is related to that. The hell?
This clearly scared OHS, as he starts trying to run in a random direction. As he's running, the picture of Jimmy Savile flashes again, and he enters a new room, becoming surrounded by bloody children. The video ends. This part
I think so. I think maybe this is a work of somebody who knows some of the victims and has made this game just to let people know how much of an evil person he was.
feels a lot more technically advanced than the beginning. Not by much, but most definitely better. So let's break it down. The picture of what to me looks like a malnourished kid is a photo taken by Roger Ballin in a compilation, Shadow Chamber, a strange avant-garde photo compilation of black and white, decrepit, and slightly uncomfortable images. It's a strange picture, but not the most disturbing in the catalog. The JFK photo that appears, along with everything else, makes almost no sense, and I'm honestly not really sure why it's here.
Yeah, because most of the stuff I am pretty sure is not connected to one and another, but I think it is connected to something which maybe this guy trying to portray is, can I say it, like the J word people. Maybe they are trying to say like whoever was behind all of those incident is also behind this one.
The Baphomet picture, along with the snippet of Led Zeppelin, seems to just be another hint at the game's name if you didn't get it the first time. But the Jimmy Savile picture popping up right after we run into a bloodied child, it's clear that that's the message this game is trying to push.
Yeah.
Although, the plot at this point feels a bit messy and I'm not exactly sure where we're going here. It still feels like these images are just put here for shock factor. But this is the point in which the first Reddit post was made, in which we actually get some interesting comments that OHS responds to. I would have kept going, but I stopped at 1 minute. Don't trust pictures from the deep web. There's no corpses or CP if that's what you mean. Exactly what I mean. I thought I'd see gore after seeing Kennedy. There's been nothing like that in this game. So far, anyway. This message isn't important just yet, but we will come back to this. And it does seem at this point that OHS is following the story along with us. Part 3 was posted June 30th of 2015, and the video starts with something we've never seen in the other two. It seems that OHC has a lantern, which seems to be an entirely new feature, but it isn't the only new thing in this part. We have codes now. The first code appears and a reversed voice starts playing but quickly goes away. After this, we get what appears to be a pitched down version of a speech from Charles Manson, a very famous cult leader and serial killer.
I live where there's no TV, there's no radio, there's no clocks, there's no electric lights. The girls carry water. They don't wear makeup. They have their babies by themselves. They go in the shack and squat down and have their babies. I live on the ground. I live on the earth. I lived in Hollywood, and I had all that. The Rolls Royce and the Ferrari, and the pad in Beverly Hills. I had the surfboard and the Beach Boys and the Beaskies and the Neil Diamond and the Rob Scott and the Jimmy Striffin and Elvis Presley's, Mesca Bestleys and all them guys.
Over time, more and more codes show up, and then we get a picture of one of the rooms, with a strange song playing in reverse. Which turns out to be the infamous propaganda song from another game with its own rabbit hole, Hong Kong 97. The vast majority of this part is just listening to Charles Manson as codes flash on the screen, so we're just gonna get to the codes. The first code translates into, I can track you. Second, good luck. You're alone. Buried. Kill, kill, and kill again. You are on my list. 5, victim. Hail 666. Sad people died. I didn't crack this, but others did long before I came along. The process they used? I honestly don't even know. Something about subtraction? I'm kinda dumb, but it is interesting. Searching around as to what this could even mean pointed out to multiple theories. Theory 1. The game is tracking the player and the messages are meant to either spook them, warn them, or both. This theory relies on the idea that there might have been something within the game file that's been watching the player, although when it comes down to the gameplay we see, there's nothing really pointing to that outside of the random teleporting that happens across the maze, which could just easily be pre-existing triggers. Theory 2. This has to do with the infamous satanic sex cult Satanists of Ash Tree Close, which is a British cult operating in Wales. It had 5 members and was a notorious child trafficking ring. This fits with the theme of the other 2 parts, so it makes sense, but honestly, I'm not so sure. Something about this game isn't adding up, so let's go ahead and dive deeper. July 1st of 2015. We get something different. The Kotaku article. In the deep corners of the internet, a video game is said to exist. It's called Sad Satan, and it's a horror game unlike any other I've come across. Sad Satan cannot be bought at GameStop, nor can it be downloaded digitally via traditional storefronts like Steam. It allegedly can only be downloaded via the tools that can access the hidden depths of the internet like Tor. This article has a lot of information in it about how OHC got his hands on the game and his experience so far. We aren't going to read all of it since most of the article is just a breakdown of what the writer thought the game was, but we will be reading the interview of OHC, or Jamie as he's called, and the anonymous subscriber. A little while back, Jamie, the proprietor of the YouTube channel Obscure Horror Corner, says he dove into the deep web to download a mysterious game hosted on an Onion site. The file was called Sad Satan, and it was a horror game that piqued his interest. It was, after all, an obscure horror game that he could feature on his YouTube channel. I don't use the deep web too often, Jamie told me last week, but a month or 2 ago, a subscriber sent me a link and said they found something creepy, and knew that I would be interested, which of course I was. I did a malware check and other virus stuff on the file and it seemed okay, so I just shot ahead with it, Jamie said. What Jamie says he found was kind of inscrutable. Creepy, enigmatic, but inscrutable. Thankfully, Jamie actually documented his playthrough of the game. Jamie claims that the game came with a file that freaked him out so much that he ended up deleting the game off their computer. It was getting a bit strange. A notepad file that went along with the game kept appearing on my desktop each time I played the game with some gibberish messages. Jamie wrote on the first video's YouTube description. I asked for proof, but couldn't get any. I unfortunately have no screenshots of the notepad files, Jamie told me. They were genuinely gibberish text. It didn't seem to be in any language, just symbols and numbers really. I did notice 666 a few times, which fits, I guess, Sim told me. They were genuinely gibberish text. It didn't seem to be in any language, just symbols and numbers really. I did notice 666 a few times, which fits, I guess, considering the title of the game. Jamie says he has no idea what the game is or who made it. They're hoping that by sharing the videos, they'll be able to find out more. I spoke to the subscriber that supposedly sent Jamie the game in the first place. He wished to remain anonymous. I first found out about the game on a deep web forum, he claimed. It's like an all-purpose site. All of your usual forums can be found there.
But another thing is that it is pretty weird why they decided to release it there. For example, if they want people to know what situation that victims went through, why they decided to release it there. Like mostly people who downloads thing there hardly like do that, because everyone is scared that they can be hacked through dark web, or even if they download it, maybe if somebody not know what the purpose was of this, can be also very weird to like release this kind of media on the dark web rather than like the clear web, so more of the people have access to it if they want to like spread the word. Maybe the dark web is also a good promotion for this game specifically, because more people now are interested to like play this game and know more about. So yeah, that strategy also worked. But still, if they release it on the clear web, I'm pretty sure more people would have know about this.
Tech help, reviews, fitness, things like that, plus some original content. This deep web frequenter says that someone put up a link to a game on these forums, something which is supposedly kind of unusual for that corner of the internet. That was the first time I had seen a game posted on the site.
Yeah, because it is pretty weird and a kind of no-brainer to release it there, and why you are not releasing it on the clear web,
He said. If media floated around on this website, it was more likely to be music and movies, not games, and certainly not user-created games. The user never specified whether it was his own content or someone else's, but I presume it was the user's game, he said. He signed off his post with ZK. My deep web informant doesn't know much about ZK. It is, after all, an anonymous forum. I have seen other posts sign off with ZK, mostly comments, which were very odd, he said. Some of the stuff ZK posted before was pretty weird. Dark views, satanic mumbo jumbo. Whether it's nefarious or all in good fun, I can't really say, he mused. He said that while it's entirely possible that the game has some dark ulterior motive, that he's waiting to see what else is contained within it before making a judgment. Apparently, the entire reason that he shared the game with Jamie was because he couldn't get the game to run on his own computer. So he, like the rest of us, can only experience the game secondhand. So now we have something more to go off of. Not only do we know where this game may have come from, but we also know that Jamie did in fact have descriptions in his videos explaining some of the story on how he got his hands on this, and that those descriptions had what has been explained as a broken link to download the game. So why delete the descriptions? A lot seems to not be adding up, and I honestly don't know how to feel about it. The deletion of the game after a few playthroughs that happened months before the initial posting of the videos. This would mean that he already finished his Let's Play before posting any of these videos. But here we have him saying this: "There's been nothing like that in this game so far."
Yeah, so he is playing it, and I'm pretty sure, I think it is some kind of promotion so that people are more interested to know what the purpose of this game is specifically.
anyway. Why would he say so far if he already knew it wasn't there? On top of this, the gameplay itself seemed to be getting more and more complex with each upload, as if the game was growing with the Let's Play. And how exactly did Kotaku find this anonymous subscriber? How did they get that connection?
And by the way, for example, if like let's say some organization wants people to know about this kind of stuff, why they are sending it to like some small YouTuber and not some big YouTuber and other people and a lot of YouTubers? So a lot of people make video regarding this, and it can be like a best to spread the message, but it was sent to a random guy on the internet and he decided to make video about, and it is pretty weird.
Our narrator is lying to us, but I don't know about what just yet, and I'd rather hold my peace until I fully get the story. On to part 4 then. Part 4 was released July 3rd, 2015. The very first second of this video shows the image of the infamous otaku killer, a Japanese mafia who raped and murdered 4 young children, eating them afterwards. Then an image of the Lady of Justice, which I'm sure is trying to insinuate the failure of our justice system, another door, and reverse speech.
Ja. Heb ik moest spelen van de Bijbel en mooi op het zijn die is ja gewoon is niet hebben.
Another door followed by the text, "Stop doing this," in a sped up voice. And now, a man. Walking out of the door, he runs into part of the map that we have never seen before, an open area that seems to be outside. Getting himself stuck, he runs around finding multiple doors, but only one opens. Another room type we haven't seen, a pink room. Once inside, the image of Jimmy Savile and Margaret Thatcher appear again. He leaves, goes on to one of the other doors, which is now unlocked. Once he enters, the text, "Everyone is ready for the party," appears. And another room type we haven't seen, a slim hallway with an opening leading to an endless void. After walking around a bit more, the texture changes back to the original black and white, and we get another picture of the otaku killer, this time without his eyes and mouth drawn over. This image stays here for an uncomfortably long period of time. After it leaves, another message, "Come in and have some fun." And then an image we haven't seen before, an image of the Australian entertainer and convicted child abuser, Rolf Harris. Afterwards,
So I'm like maybe 50% sure, or let's say 80% sure, this game specifically was like to expose this kind of child predators through the game. But another thing is why they decided to like not release it on the clear web. It still does not make sense. Like I'm trying to wrap around my head why they are doing this, and what was the purpose of them doing releasing this game on the dark web.
he runs into the little girl again. This time, she is in every corner of the room. Leaving, he sees another picture of Rolf Harris, and yet another room type we have not come across. A red room. A red room with reversed crying and an unreadable message on the wall. Then ends with another picture of the otaku killer and our good friend Led Zeppelin's reverse song. If you couldn't tell by now, the game is about child trafficking and those who have hurt children.
Yeah.
Almost everything in this game has been added to either show you that premise or to spook you. But even then, some of what has been shown doesn't even make any sense. Why show JFK in part 2? Why add a song only famous in a game that only people into obscure horror game circles would know in part 3? Well, unfortunately, part 4 confirmed my suspicions. Jamie has been lying to us. But why? This game did not come from the deep web. It came from Jamie himself, and he only made the game's story up to gain traction for his channel. And I'm not
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, that it was a pretty good idea to like launch it on dark web, but still not very good idea. He can just do the similar kind of stuff to like send it to all of the YouTubers. He think that will cover this kind of stuff, and just tell them like, yo, I find it on the dark web, how about you play it? And that will be a more interesting thing, not like making the whole story and uploading it on the dark web, which everyone is scared to download things from, and they think that maybe they can just get hacked.
Not the only one who figured this out. This game is not impressive. I don't think that's unfair to say. Anyone with knowledge on how to work a game engine could pull this off. But the giveaway is the fact that this game has been evolving with every single playthrough Jamie has done. Every opening in this game is a fully different area than the last episode, and each episode has new mechanics not previously seen. Progress just kinda happens without explanation. Jamie, in multiple instances across Reddit as well at this point, has acted as if he was actively playing the game with the uploads, which contradicts his statement of deletion in the Kotaku article. This led me back to the question, why did he delete the descriptions for the videos? Well, it turns out someone on 4chan figured out that the link that Jamie put in his bio was fully impossible to ever exist. The story on how he got the game is totally fake. The Onion link that he posted never actually existed. In fact, it's impossible to make it work with Tor. How do I know this? Very simple. Just check Wikipedia. Addresses in the Onion pseudo TLD are generally opaque, non-mnemonic, 16-character alpha semi-numeric hashes which are automatically generated based on a public key when hidden services are connected. These 16-character hashes can be made up of any letter of the alphabet and decimal digits from 2 to 7. The key part in this is decimal digits from 2 to 7. Now take a look at the link he provided. That 9 shouldn't be there. He just made up the whole story to get subs on his YouTube channel. Proving that not only does this game not come from the deep web, it was impossible for it to have ever existed in the first place. Jamie, finding this out, deleted the descriptions as fast as he could. He didn't want to give up the ghost just yet. But why lie? ARGs at the time were still prevalent and it would have been fine. But
Yeah, it was not that deep that he decided to hide everything.
he posed this as some giant internet mystery that totally exists. On top of this, once this 4chan post was made, people found an old comment from Jamie himself underneath one of his videos. Awesome stuff, bro. Keep up the good work. I love seeing these games. Thanks. I haven't been too active lately because I've been working on creating my own game. I'll hopefully have something about that soon enough. This added alongside the fact that people found out that Jamie actually lives in the UK, where most of the plot of Sad Satan takes place. Jimmy Savile, Margaret Thatcher, Rolf Harris, some of the cults, they all take place within the UK, for the most part. Take into account, Obscure Horror Corner was
But another thing is that why he decided to say that he don't know who created this game can be a huge a better thing for him to do, because there will be a lot of defamation cases on him from somewhere else, and it is better to just say that yeah, somebody has made this game and I'm just playing it. So you will be not responsible for any type of allegation you face in the future.
created in 2014, and Sad Satan was the video series that blew up their channel from 2,000 subscribers to over 100,000 subscribers in almost 2 weeks. It makes sense as to why he wanted to keep the mystery alive, but this was the worst way to do it. Once people started to figure out that he was lying, interest in the project quickly died. It was edgy to be edgy, a creepypasta that the creator wanted to make everyone think was real, but wasn't. And it was the realness and the deep web aspect of it that made this game so fascinating.
Yeah, that was also the part of this, but I'm more focused on the specifically victims and the people who were shown in the game, because I'm now more interested to know like what kind of horrible stuff those people did, not about the game. I'm not interested in that, but I just want to know the reality of those victims and those predators.
If it wasn't tied to the deep web, honestly, no one would have ever even bothered with it in the first place. Jamie knew this, and so that's why he deleted the description. That
Yeah, another thing is that, for example, he was the creator of that game, so it was realistically not a good idea to just upload the game on his channel, because he need a story, and that dark web story was pretty interested. But another thing is that what I have told you again, that it will have a huge impact if he decided to just send this game to other creator for them to check this game out, and that can be also a very good thing to spread awareness, But what I'm currently looking at the whole scenario that he decided to portray, he can just say like, I'm sorry guys, I have just created it, and I just want the people to know more about this kind of people who did the horrible stuff, and I just made the video. No one will be angry on this guy. But the thing is that he was purely here to just do the drama and make name for himself and like gain subscriber and money. So that why I like don't like his way of doing things.
Is why he lied. But it wasn't over, and we haven't even gotten to the worst part. Because despite the confusion most were going through with this revelation, something truly disgusting reared its head into this mystery. On July 7th of 2015, 2 days after Jamie was exposed for lying about the game's origins, a post on 4chan's paranormal board would appear. What you've seen on YouTube isn't right. Don't believe that coward of Obscure Horror Corner. He did not show you what was truly in this game. Signed, ZK. A couple of minutes later, a revision to the Kotaku article would be made regarding Jamie's faked link. Fans of Sad Satan have spent a good deal of time analyzing the game, its references, and potential origins. The search has produced some interesting insights, many of which reinforce the idea that the game is about child abuse. Along the way, another question has popped up. Scary as it might be, was the game truly found in the deep web, as the YouTube uploader claimed? People sent me a variety of rationales for and against the possibility that Sad Satan came from the deep web, some valid, others not. What stood out to me was the allegation that the deep web link provided in the YouTube description for the initial video contained the number 9, which is a number that is unlikely to be found in.
And by the way, is it allowed for you to like give a dark web a link in the description? But because I feel like it should be like breaking the community guideline. Maybe I don't know more about, but I feel like it should be.
Onion links. I contacted Jamie, the proprietor of Obscure Horror Corner, to ask what was going on with the link. He now says he gave people the wrong link because the real one had, he claims, also included gore pictures and child pornography, along with the game. I didn't feel.
So yeah, if he feels like it was a bad thing to like give this to anybody, he could have just said that and like not pretend to say like, yeah, you can just download it from this link, which was already a wrong thing to do from the start.
Comfortable giving out a link for something like that. He did not share that link with me. Unfortunately, that makes it harder for me to put as much credence into the rest of his account, even though he maintains it's true. Sad Satan remains interesting and worth covering given how effective it is despite its crudeness, but it's clear now that I should have presented a tale of its discovery with more skepticism. I apologize for that. While the original article admits the game exists in a more mythical state than a tangible one, it could have gone farther to make it clear what was concrete about Jamie's tale and what wasn't. This is a clear and bold-faced lie told by Jamie, because as we know already from his comments on Reddit, there's no corpses or CP, if that's what you mean. So what changed? And what the hell just got posted onto 4chan? The link sent by the person who claims to be ZK is a new version of Sad Satan, the alleged true Sad Satan. This version of the game, released only minutes before the Kotaku article was uploaded, was filled to the brim with illegal content that I will not be talking about for very obvious reasons. It was also filled to the brim with malware. Unfortunately, since this was the only link ever provided to people who desperately wanted to play the game, and since it's being touted as the true version of this game, thousands of people flocked to it, unknowing as to what they just got themselves into.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, that it is not a legal thing, I think so, and it is against a community guideline that you are providing especially this kind of material in your description. Even if the game has no bad thing inside it, it's still like leading people to dark web and it can be dangerous for them. So that how it was. And another thing is that people take advantage of his lies, and now people are getting hacked and scammed.
This link spread like wildfire across the web and became the video game of the week for so many content creators that it went mainstream again. Issue was, they didn't realize they were seeing real bodies, downloading backdoors onto their system, and seeing real child victims. For the next couple of days, it was radio silence from Jamie, and everyone who downloaded the game ended up with a brick for a computer, as it was notorious for killing your hardware. The people who could carefully analyzed the contents of the file and found ties to multiple illegal videos that were being hosted on deep web forums. Many of these people took to Reddit to warn against the download of this link. One brave soul even fully replaced all the files in the game to make it fully legal and okay to play. This version of the game was also found out to be a clone. None of the original files were even in this game, meaning it's not even the original. But remember, this post was made almost 18 minutes before the Kotaku article was updated. That, to me, is a full-on impossibility. Unless someone had inside knowledge of when this update was dropping, it makes no sense how this happened. And why all of a sudden did Jamie change his story? He went from saying that there's no CP or gore to saying yes, there is CP and gore in this game. Conveniently, when people started to out him for a fake link, and conveniently when a new link started to make the rounds on the website that called him out in the first place. But now we have an entirely new mystery. Who exactly is ZK? This entire situation has taken this from a fun, silly little internet mystery to a lie that made the audience absolutely pissed, to one of the worst cases of internet crimes ever committed. We have 3 options and 3 theories. 1. Jamie was telling the truth. This theory has almost nothing to back it up, if I'm going to be honest with you, and in order to believe it, you have to disregard all lies Jamie has told throughout this rabbit hole. But let's play this angle for just a little bit. ZK is real and is who made this game. The anonymous subscriber is real and sent this game to OHC, and OHC played all of this in one sitting before he deleted it a month before posting it. He told people there was no CP and gore in this playthrough, and even though he changes his story later down the line, I have to make something up to kind of defend this real quick because it makes no sense otherwise. He carefully went through all of the gameplay and edited out all of the gore and CP, still having it on his computer either way, making him a criminal, but he lied about it so that way people felt more comfortable. The only real evidence helping this case is that the new version doesn't have most of the original images, and that the clone is a pretty bad knockoff, with most of the in-game assets and the map itself not really matching the Let's Plays. This one is the hardest theory to believe, and honestly, I don't know anyone that does believe it. Theory 2. Jamie did lie, but the 4chan post was a troll. This is the theory that most believe, that Jamie made everything up but was the target of a troll from 4chan. Honestly, a lot can point to this. Again, the fact that the clone barely resembles the gameplay from Jamie's channel, despite being such an easy game to replicate. It was missing even the simplest of images and sound bites from the original, and was also very clearly rushed. On top of this, on the 9th of July 2015, we actually had Jamie respond, which is something he hasn't done at all during this time. I didn't make the clone. Some seedy 4chan cunt thought it would be hilarious to troll some people at my expense. Yes, extremely angry about this because I'm getting messages from people telling me that I fucked up their PC, and also apparently I'm a pedophile now too. I honestly don't care what everyone thinks about the rest of this, but the clone has nothing to do with me. Responding to allegations of the files being under his name. I looked up program to change file dates a second ago, and apparently there is something that can do that. It being uploaded before the Kotaku article, if it was, well, when I think deep web, the first thing that pops up in my head is drugs and CP. So I don't think it's unrealistic for someone to just decide to make a clone with CP in it. My name is in pretty much every write-up I see about the game. I imagine it would be easy to create a new user with my name considering everyone knows it now. Really though, I know everyone thinks I made Sad Satan, but making a file containing CP and a virus is on a whole new level to that. The thing that makes me so angry about this is that my full name has been used by some people in videos about the game, and some of the write-ups, I'm not just an anonymous YouTuber now. My reputation is being damaged by this clone bullshit. While reading this, I realized he skips over that little fact of it being released before the Kotaku article. Very interesting. You really should make a thread and explain your side of things. I'll try soon. I haven't had much free time to do much lately. This doesn't mean he's not guilty, but it does show a break in character for Jamie, which in this circumstance honestly makes sense. The third theory is that Jamie made both games and lied about everything. To be honest, this is the theory that I personally believe more. None of what Jamie has stated has lined up. There's too many coincidences that, even if giving Jamie the benefit of the doubt, make no sense otherwise. For one, the troll roleplays as this ZK that we have only ever heard of about in the Kotaku article. On top of this, the anonymous subscriber from the article never came out about this, nor did this person ever even argue with Jamie when they claimed there was no CP or gore. Jamie claimed multiple times there was no CP or gore so far, and only backpedaled that statement after what seems like a random nobody troll made a fake version of the game riddled with it. His story doesn't add up. Most want to give Jamie the benefit of the doubt because technically there is no proof he made it. The main excuse being, well, why would he throw his entire life away just to make up some shitty story? But technically there is a bit of proof. The files within the illegal game are under his name, Jamie. This isn't concrete proof and can be easily faked if you were to just make a new user on your PC. But why go through all the effort to roleplay in this fake story just to frame him? But after he has lied about almost everything to keep this game going, I honestly think he did something very stupid to keep people from calling him a liar. And it seems I wasn't the only one who thought this either. Unless he was lying, which is completely plausible, the logs did have his name in them. A name text log isn't exactly the hardest thing to fudge. It's pretty easy to forget and not notice also, just like how it's easy to not know onion links don't actually have the number 9 in them. His name is in the files. He has the original
His name is in the Epstein file.
videos. He lied about the gore and CP. Looks pretty suspicious to me. If the original had that in it, then it must be made by the same person. The guy who searches and plays obscure horror games would probably have stumbled across Terror Engine. He also said he was making a game in the past. Sounds the most plausible that he made it. I don't know. I just don't see the motive for putting in the malware in the CP. It doesn't quite add up. That instead
Yeah, because why? What is the end game? Even if we think about it logically, no one do that specifically. If you don't want to destroy your reputation, if you have some kind of fetish of your name being tarnished, you will do this kind of stuff.
of just releasing this interesting AR style horror game as is, he'd put in stuff that would definitely make it illegal and definitely garner the wrong kind of attention eventually, to make it look like someone else made the game and not him. The whole reason the game got popular was because it was some mysterious game that no one has played except for him, which was sent by some mysterious guy. After people found out the link wasn't possible and he was lying, they were saying he probably made the game. Then after that, the game gets posted on 4chan with gore and such, and his story changes to him giving a fake link on purpose, saying it was because of gore and such around the exact same time, which he said the game had none of that beforehand, which also means he had the idea in his head of it having that. It would be a very clear way of getting views on his YouTube channel and still make it seem like he got sent the link. I don't see a troll downloading Terror Engine, making these levels, which would probably mean they have messed around with it a good amount, and especially going into the error logs and changing the C drive it's located in to have his name to possibly make it look like he made the game. Either it's him or some dude trying to frame him, which would.
But I think so. I will not blame him for this kind of malware which was inside the game. I don't think so. He is the culprit behind this all kind of stuff. Maybe some other person did wanted to try to distract people from all the information which was inside the game and ruin his reputation for that. Maybe, I don't know. Like let's think about it, that suddenly somebody tried to like replicate the exact game, which come on, like it was not hard for, especially if somebody is a game developer. But another thing was why they decided to add that kind of malware into the game. I think the end game was that they were trying to just distract everybody, and that was the end game.
Would have meant that the framer would have had to plan it from the start, most likely. Jamie was also quiet for most of this. Most of his excuses for this were, I don't have time. But let's be completely real here for a second. If you were being accused of creating a game filled to the brim with malware that bricked people's PCs and making people unknowingly download CP onto their computer, which is also insinuating that you yourself have CP on your computer, and that you did all this to simply keep your channel afloat, I feel like you would have time to respond, especially since your real name has been thrown around throughout this.
Yeah, it is pretty weird that why he is not even saying anything. Is he being blackmailed by somebody? or what the end game is. Because for example, if somebody try to ruin my life and my reputation and my name is out there, everyone know who I am, I will definitely try to defend myself. You have seen people who has done all kind of stuff, they will still defend themselves to try to like lie about the situation, but he is not even doing it. So this is very weird to look at it.
Entire situation, and people are blaming you for all of it. This was the last response we ever received from Jamie. Still ticking, just about. Good to hear you've been pretty silent about, well, everything about this. There is another theory, however, dealing with someone named Gary Graves, and I'm gonna stop us here right now. The only reason I'm throwing this in is because it's technically part of the story. This theory is a complete shot in the dark at some random 4chan user who was arrested for possession of CP. There isn't a link between Gary Graves and the Sad Satan gameplay, however, and it seems like this theory stemmed from none other than Mama Max. So do what you will with that information. So where exactly is this story now? Well, with no real proof and no response or update outside of a couple things, it's a complete dead end. On July 4th of 2015, Jamie released a part 5 to Sad Satan, and at the time of recording, it has been lost to time, being taken down by YouTube. As it stands, part 4 is the last video on the Obscure Horror Corner channel. All that was left was speculation, as once the link for the real version was scrubbed from the internet, the game just became another internet legend, and most of the story is buried behind 10 years of progress within internet history. The legend of Sad Satan has completely flickered out, but I think it stands as one of the first internet legends that genuinely scared people and felt real, only then to turn real. I remember being a kid and hearing about this game back in 2015 and seeing it make the rounds all over YouTube, thinking to myself, this is the scariest game ever made ever, and if I were to watch these videos, it would give me nightmares for weeks. This simply being because of just how hyped this game was. Watching these videos back 10 years later and finally going through the deep dive of Sad Satan, I realized it's not as scary as it was made out to be. Maybe it was the hype, maybe it was just a product of the time,
Yeah, because it is not a scary thing, it's just a whole bunch of information try to include inside the game to people to know like who they are, but still it was a bad idea for him to try to cover the whole situation by making fake story. Yeah, I think it was better to make a full fake story about this game, like okay, so I get this game from dark web, but you should just share that game at that moment and not wait for somebody to just make a game exactly like that, and which is full of malware. So I think this is a lesson for people who wants to make games like this for their channel. If you want to make it, just publish the game very much after you record your channel video, because somebody can do this kind of stuff and ruin your reputation, and no one will be there to listen to your story. That will be the worst thing ever.
honestly actually knows at this point. I very much do regret not taking this deep dive a lot sooner, simply because I feel like maybe it could have kept some of that magic if I did. The internet's a very strange place, and it's filled with a lot of strange things. This probably isn't the strangest thing that's ever happened on YouTube, but it is up there. And this story kinda, to me at least, shows where people are willing to go to save themselves. Or, depending how you think of the ending, it shows how far people are willing to go to get a quick laugh out of other people's suffering. Either way, what we do know about Sad Satan so far is that whoever made the game is a criminal and is either rotting in prison right now or is on the run. If you like this video and you want to see more like it, please go ahead and subscribe. Please go ahead
and it was pretty good story. I just want to know like who was behind this, but I love it, and you can check it Void the Warlock channel for other videos similar to this. And thank you for the video, and see you in the next video. Until then, bye bye.